Welcome to TPC Texas Algebra 1 2024 Practice Set 3. This is the third in a series of 5 practice sets, and these have been modeled after the Texas 2022 Release STAAR exam. If you'll head over to my store, Secondary Math Assessment Resources at Teacher Pay Teacher, you can download this free resource until Monday, January the 29th, 2024. It will be a paid item after that time. Once you've downloaded your practice set from Teacher Pay Teacher, it's going to look like this. Scroll through to see the practice questions and the answer key that correlates with those questions. And then at the very end, you'll see an alignment to the Texas STAAR Algebra 1 Spring Assessment. There's a link to the video you're watching now, and I do encourage you to subscribe to the channel and click the bell to enable notices so that you don't miss any of the upcoming videos or practice sets. All practice sets will be available for free, but only for a limited time. So it's really important that you grab them as soon as they come out so that you don't miss an opportunity to get this free resource. If you will, click the link at the top of the page where it says Texas STAAR Algebra 1 Spring 2022 Assessment, and it will take you out to the actual Texas STAAR exam. This is the released Texas Algebra 1 STAAR exam. Today we'll be looking at 5 different items on this exam that mirror the items that I provided for you in the practice set. These are not the same as the items in the practice set, but they are items you can do with your students to practice the skills they could use on the 5 items in this practice set. The first item we're going to look at is item number 24, and you'll find that on page 26 of the Texas STAAR release test from 2022. The question is about the solutions to a function, and this is a quadratic function, and they're asking which equation could represent that function. So we're going to use the Texas STAAR version of the Desmos Graphing Calculator to work this item. To get the Texas version of the Desmos Graphing Calculator, go over to desmos.com by typing desmos.com in your browser, and it will take you to this page. Now, on the main screen is the link out to the regular graphing calculator, but you don't want to be using that when you're doing test prep because the students will not have access to the full functionality of that calculator. Instead, click on Math Tools and go down to where it says Test Practice. And then at the top of the screen, you'll see Choose Assessment. And for this one, we're using Texas STAAR. Start Practice, and it will pull up the version of the calculator we'll be using on all 5 of the items today. The first thing we're going to do for item number 24 is go ahead and type in one of the answer choices. So I'll start with answer choice F. So that's P of X is equal to X squared minus 49. You can type Shift 6 to create the exponent 2, or you can use the keyboard that's at the bottom of the calculator. So the question is, which quadratic function could represent P? We want to know when P of X is equal to 0. So I'm going to type in P of X is equal to 0 and see if it'll let me graph that. And it does. So when it does, you'll see that when you click here, you'll see the 7 and the -7 is the 2 points of intersection. So the correct answer is actually the very first answer. So let's see what happens if we had chosen G first to type. Well, first of all, I can't even see that one because it's way up at 49. So in order to see that, the kids would have to know to zoom out, or they may know that they need to adjust their window. So I'm going to take this Y and go from -50 to +50. And then I should be able to see my parabola is way up here at the top of the screen. And it doesn't even intersect the 0. So p of x equals 0 is not even an option for that particular function. We'll do x squared minus 14. And again, I'm just showing you these just in case they didn't happen to put the right answer first. The solutions to this equation would be negative 3.7 and positive 3.7, not negative 7 and 7. So the correct answer in this situation would be answer choice F. And I'll go ahead and put that back in there. Negative 7 and positive 7 are the zeros for that function. The next question we'll look at today is 26. It's on page 28. We have a table of values, and we're looking for an exponential function that will model that table. So first we'll insert the table into the calculator. Click on the plus sign where it says Add Item, Table, and then type in the numbers. You'll notice that the table has a horizontal orientation, and the students are going to be typing in a vertical orientation. You might also want to tell them not to type these commas when they type it, because that can mess them up as well. I think it gives them a little error message so they'll know something's wrong. Now the first thing you should notice is the points are not appearing in the graph, and that's because the graph settings don't have a window big enough for these numbers. So I'm going to set my x values to go from -1 to 4. Anything that would contain the number 0 to 3 will work. And I'm going to take my y values and go from, let's see, how about 6,000 to 10,000. And I'm not going to, I'll leave these steps out. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's type our first answer choice in and see how well it fits. So v of x is equal to 9,000 times 1.1 to the x. Well, automatically they should omit this one because this is a growth function and it is increasing. And also shift 6 gives you the exponent x, so be sure they're not just typing an x and getting a linear function. So that one's not going to work. The second one is a exponential decay function, and look at that, it fits perfectly. You might want to try answer choice J to make sure that it's not working, because it's pretty close. It's not that one. It is answer choice G. Now in the table, depending on what your kids remember, the first point was 0, 9,000, the y-intercept, so that does give them a clue as to the first point on the graph, which is the first point in the table. So the correct answer in this problem is answer choice G. The next item we're looking at is item number 25, and this is located on page 27. 2 points are plotted on this grid, and you're being asked which equation in slope-intercept form represents or best represents the line that passes through the 2 points. So these numbers are here. You'll notice this graph doesn't look exactly like the graph here, so I can make some modifications by clicking on the wrench in the top right corner. You'll see that the x's go from -7 to 7. I think I'm going to leave that. And the y's also go from -7 to 7. But that's still not going to look exactly the same because it's counting by ones and not by twos. So I'm going to change the steps here, step 1 for my x and my y-axis to ones, and I am going to add the labels x and y to the graph. Another thing I like to do on a lot of problems is take off the minor grid lines so that there's not so many lines on the graph, and you can type zoom square to get a graph that is square, and that's not at all what I wanted to do. So let's do -7, let's do -10 to 10 and do zoom square. We'll do it again. Okay, that's better. Or maybe not. -6. Having a hard time getting it to look the same. I'm just going to keep playing with it. Okay, that's way better. So I just kept playing with it. The main thing on this type is to get it to look a little square, because if you have a graph that's distorted, it's difficult to make out which line is exactly the same. So I'm going to go ahead and type in the ordered pairs that are appearing on the graph, and you simply type parentheses and then the coordinates for the point. If kids aren't real good at this, they do have the graph itself to look at that's on the paper or on the test itself, and you can label it to make sure you've got it in there right. It looks right. So it's going left 2 up 6. This one's left 2 up 6. Let's do the other point with 1, -4. And I'm going to label that one too. And now I'm looking for a line that will intersect both of those points. So I'm going to type that on the third row of the calculator. Y is equal to -2 divided by 3, and then x minus 11 divided by 3. And that line does not intersect those 2 points, so it is the incorrect answer. So answer choice B has a minus 11/3 for the slope and minus 2/3 for the y-intercept. That's really close, but it is not intersecting exactly these 2 points. So we're going to go ahead and do C, which is -2/3 x, and it's probably going to be wrong because that slope is way too shallow. But we can go ahead and type it. It's nowhere near the correct answer, so D must be correct. Let's go ahead and type it. Y equals -10/3 x minus 2/3, and look at that. It's exactly correct. These 2 points do fall on the line. The correct answer choice for this problem is answer choice D. The next answer, or the next question that we're going to look at on the test is question 30, and you'll find that on page 31. We're given a function that's in standard form, and we're looking to find which statement is true. This is about the zeros of a function and writing functions in different forms. So really only one of these answer choices has the correct factored form for the function. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in the function x squared minus 36, and you can type 0 equals, but I don't know if this one's going to let you do that. It's probably not. Let's see. These Texas version of the graphing calculator is not going to solve an equation for you. They've taken that functionality out, so this is not showing up. But what you can do is take off the 0 equals, because see here it's saying plotting implicit equations is disabled. But if you'll take off the equals 0, it will show the parabola that would have been equal to 0. So they can just omit the equal 0 part so that they can see the expression as it compares to the expression at x squared minus 36. So F is not going to work because those two factors do not give you the same quadratic function. G, of course, won't either. Let's see if we can even see that one. You can't see it, so you might think it's under there, but if you turn this off or turn this one off, you're not going to see it under there. And you can also zoom out, zoom way out to see this one. It's way over to the right. That one is 18 on the x-axis is where it intersects. The next one is x plus 6, x minus 6. So let's go ahead and type that one in, x plus 6, x minus 6, and yeah, that one, of course, is the same. If you'll turn it off by clicking on the blue button here, you'll see the red one is immediately under it. And you'll also see that the zeros are -6 and +6. Those are the x-intercepts. So the only answer that really makes any sense at all is H. If you want to type J just to see what it looks like, you'll see that it does intersect the x-axis at 18 and -18. So there is something here, but it does not correspond to the red parabola, which was function f of x. So the only answer choice it could possibly be would be answer choice H. The last problem we're going to look at today is problem 29. Now you may wonder, why in the world did she go backwards? Honestly, it was just to fit the problems onto the page when I was typing your practice items. So I chose to put this one last since it was such a large item. It just took up a lot of space. Uh, Ironically, you don't really need all this to do this problem. So they did give a scatter plot and they did give a table of values to find the function to model the data. But really either or would be sufficient because this one's fairly simple. They're asking which function best models these data. So I'm going to go ahead and type, or first of all, let's go ahead and fix this window to match this graph. You don't really need the graph, but I think I'm going to use it. So let's go ahead and make our x values go from 0 to 9. We could go from -1 to 10. Looks like they're counting by ones. And the y values go from 0 to 100. We'll go from -10 to 100, maybe 110 even, and we can count by tens. If you'll turn off the minor grid lines, it's going to look a little bit more like that. If you square it up, I don't know, that's probably not going to work. Yeah, it just changed my x's, which I don't want to do. So let's go from -1 to 11. That's better. I think I'll just give up on squaring it this time. Let's go ahead and type in a table of values. So click on the plus sign in the top left and table, and you can recreate the table that you're given. So we're going to do 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the points. Let's put these in here, 100, 86. So this table really did help, I guess. I mean, if they're going to use this strategy, they can put it in there. But for some kids, just typing the equation and looking at the graph would be sufficient without using the calculator. I'm going to type in the first equation. And I think this one's actually the right answer again, which is too bad because usually you want to see something wrong first. Oh, forgot my X. So this line appears to go through these data points pretty well. So let's do another one. And this, you'll notice, is going to give us a different color. I'm going to leave that one up because I think it's right. And then we'll see the difference. And then this green line you can see is way too far from the data point, so this is not a good choice. The next one has a positive slope, so that rules it out. So like I said, your kids may not even need to do any work to get this answer, but of course they're not always going to be this straightforward and this simple. So C is incorrect because it has a positive slope, and of course the data points are decreasing, so it should have a negative slope. And the same is true for answer choice D. It has a positive slope of 7.3. You can't even see this one, I don't think. But that's okay, because we already know the correct answer was the first answer choice A. If you haven't already, head over to my store at Secondary Math Assessment Resources to get your free copy of the Practice Set 3. There are other items here that are also free. You're welcome to check those out as well. If y'all have any questions about any of these problems or any of these practice sets, feel free to leave a comment and I'll get back to you. Y'all have a great day.